News Prime.
Thank you for joining us on Joy News Prime. Here on Joy News and Multi TV. From wherever you're watching in the world, this is Ghana's most comprehensive 2 hours of television news, and my name is Ezra. Coming up, more chaos in the opposition New Patriotic Party as National Chairman Paul Afoko is suspended by the National Executive Council for misconduct. Electricity supply deficit restored to near normal following temporary loss in generation that led to intensified load shedding in the last couple of days. Frustrated customers of microfinance firm DKM vent their spleen on assets of the company in Sunyani to demand their deposit withheld for several months.
And in business tonight, Finance Minister said Tekpe confirms government is working to issue another Eurobond before the end of this year if the conditions are right. And Fair Wages and Salaries Commission warns about 10,000 names of teachers on government's payroll are to be deleted come next month after they failed to validate their records with the Controller and Accountant General. So Etonamse will be here a lot later with the business news. But then in the second hour of this bulletin, we'll bring you entertainment, sport, and the feedback segment where we read your messages from social media. This bulletin is also available across Europe on ABN television. Stay tuned. Our very first story, hundreds of teachers across the country risk forfeiting their salaries for the month of November. This is after they failed to submit their data as part of the ongoing validation process to update the educational sector payroll. The Chief Executive of the Fair Wages and Salaries Commission says teachers who fail to submit their data will have their names deleted. According to him, the audit service is yet to validate some 10,000 names of either possible scammers or genuine teachers who are unlikely to receive their salaries come next month.
We are suspecting, and we have a few evidences to show that people got upgraded and they are looking for the arrears based on some fake certificates. Some got upgraded although they didn't have any certificate, but they got the upgrading. These are the suspicions that we have, and we've done a few work here and there. We don't know how massive the situation is across the country, but at least the work that we have done proves that there are a few fake certificates and non-certificates who have even been upgraded to the levels that you don't expect them to be. And you know that once anybody is upgraded, it becomes a cost to the state. If you're on any level and you jump to another level, it means your salary is going to go up, other benefits are going to go up, and that is a huge cost to the state. And that's the reason why we are undertaking this. As we have the evidences, and like we mentioned, we think that the time has come that people will have to be prosecuted. October salaries are already prepared, so any data that we don't receive, we can be sure that the person will not be paid for the month of November. We'll delete the name from the payroll. Deletion of the name from the payroll or suspension of the name from the payroll will be done in November, definitely, to ensure that nobody suffers unduly. That is the reason why we've put together the national committee chaired by myself with Ghana Education Service, the teacher unions, audit service, Ministry of Finance, Controller and Accountant General, all important stakeholders there. So once we get the information of anybody afterwards, we will quickly ensure that the name is reinserted back to the payroll.
Officials in the power sector have blamed an unusual intensification of the load shedding in the last few days on a blip with the supply of fuel, which has since been largely resolved. The challenge left several parts of the country without electricity for much longer than usual. Joy News sources say the Electricity Company of Ghana had to shed 590 megawatts on Wednesday, almost double the supply deficit in the last few months. The situation has been blamed on the shortfall in the supply of natural gas from Nigeria and the Turbo gas plant to fuel thermal plant in Tema and Abuade. Francis Aban of the Energy Desk is here. Here at Joy News joins me with a bit more detail on the situation. Good evening to you, Francis.
Evening.
So yesterday we knew that there was some meeting amongst the authorities in the power sector, and it was as a result of what they describe as a blip in the energy situation. Can you bring us up to speed as to what exactly was the situation?
Okay, so it was a question of gas supply, first from Nigeria to the enclave in Tema for the power plants that we have, and also the challenge, the same blip with the supply of gas from Atuabo to the enclave in Abuazi in the western region. So those were the two key reasons why we were suffering with the kind of deficit we were seeing, 590 megawatts that was being shed in that period. Happily, we're learning that at the meeting yesterday, we traveled till about 9 p.m. last night. They had to look for all manner of options in dealing with the challenge. Many options came up. One of them was to consider the expensive option of getting crude oil to power some of the plants. But again, the question was about the money to pay for this crude at the point in time like this, when we're struggling to even pay up the debts that we owe. And so it was a lot of back and forth. But the good news we're getting today as well is that for some of the plants in Abuazi, they've been able to get some of their units online, and that means that things have eased up today. Today we're learning that some 330 instead of the 590 was shed today. Right. So that means there's a considerable ease in the system.
That's quite significant.
Yes.
But how about the supply of gas from Nigeria and Atuabo? Has it gotten any better?
Well, yes, for Atuabo, we're learning that it's almost close to the optimum level that is required for the plants in Abuazi to take. So for them, they're getting a bit more power. We know for Tico, we spoke to the general manager today who tells us that they're getting enough gas. Their units are online and they are supplying somewhere in the region of over 200 megawatts of power. That should deal, if we're just quantifying that for Accra, half of Accra should be able to consume that amount of energy. That's if we are even to get it. But what it means also is that for the power that they are generating in Abuazi, the gas is enough to give us a reprieve, not to the highest level that we require, but it's getting up appreciably. For Tema and for the Nigerian gas, we're learning that the pressure is still low, it's still ramping up steadily. We're learning that by the end of this weekend, things could get better.
Is it likely that, or do we have enough crude oil, should it happen that we don't have enough, the gas coming up to the levels that we're expecting?
Israel, with this, I'll borrow the words of Nana Osafo, who says that light crude has been an option that he adopted last night. But again, they need to manage it as much as they can. And the reason he says that is because the supply is not too much in the system. And so they have to manage what they have, especially when, ordering for crude oil takes a bit of time and they don't have too much in the country. And so money is an issue in getting it, and two, what they have available is limited. And so they have to manage it the best way they can, even though it is an expensive option.
It clearly suggests we're not exactly out of the woods yet.
We're not. For now, things are easing up a bit, but you can see trouble ahead, because if our supplies run out and the supply from Nigeria doesn't make it through by the end of this weekend, we could be back to the situation we had 2 days ago. But we're assured by the power ministry that things are being done behind the scenes, first to get some money to buy the crude if we have to, and also to pass some pressure on both ends for the gas situation and getting in as much as we can.
Thank you very much, Francis Aban. And Francis Aban is with the Energy Desk here at Joy News. In other news, officials in Kumasi have demolished a 4-story building which was being constructed too close to a major water supply line. Managers of the Ghana Water Company had kicked against the project, warning it could affect water supply to some 15 communities. Correspondent Erastus Asare joins us on the line with more. Good evening to you, Erastus.
Good evening, Israel.
Were there any other reasons for the demolition of this building besides it being too close to the water supply line?
Well, the Asokore Mampo Municipal Assembly also claims, and the MC showed us copies of the development plan for the area, and they also indicated that this particular building does not fall into the development plan of the area. And so that's the other reason they cited. And then they also showed us the location of the main transmission pipe, which is indeed about 10 meters from the building. And per the Ghana Water Company laws, any building needs to be sited 15 meters away from their transmission lines. And they indicated that this in future will create problems, water supply problems, to about 15 communities within the Kumasi metropolis.
Now, what is the owner saying about all of this?
Well, I spoke with the owner of this project, and he tells me that he's going to contest this issue in court. He's going to apply for damages because already he claims the case is in court. He doesn't understand why the assembly will not allow the court process to go on, and then if the court decides that the building should be pulled down, then they go ahead and do it. And so he's going to continue his case in court, and if he wins, he will file for damages against the assembly.
All right, thank you very much. Rastus Asare Donko joining us from Kumasi on the demolition of that structure that the Ghana Water Company said was on one of its pipelines, or a major supply line. We're taking a break at this point on Joy News Prime. We'll be back with more stories. Please don't go away. Thank you for staying with us here on Joy News Prime. The turmoil within the opposition New Patriotic Party escalated on Friday with the announcement of the suspension of party chairman Paul Afoko by the party's National Executive Council. Before the announcement, there was mayhem at the party headquarters in Accra as Mr. Afoko's supporters attempted to disrupt the meeting at which his suspension was to be decided. A motorbike was burned to ashes and a taxi had its windscreen smashed. Kwachafre Nyama has the rest of the story in the following report.
The decision by the third highest body in the New Patriotic Party means Mr. Paul Afoko can no longer hold himself as chairman of the largest opposition party. Speaking to Joy News, Communications Director of the MPP, Nana Komia, says first vice chairman Freddie Blay will now act as chairman of the New Patriotic Party.
The decision was unanimous that the disciplinary committee's recommendation be upheld. So by that decision, Mr. Paul Afoko has been suspended indefinitely from the position of NPP national chairman.
Is a vacuum created then after the national chairman has, been suspended? Mr. Freddie Blay will be acting?
Yes, he is acting. By the NPP's constitution, in the absence of the national chairman, the first vice national chairman acts as chairman.
Let's look at the constitution of the MPP. Does it allow for Mr. Paul Afoko, does he have any avenue to appeal this decision?
Anybody aggrieved by a decision such as this has the option of appealing to a higher body. The higher body in this instance is the National Council. He has 2 weeks to appeal to the National Council on whatever grounds, whether on procedural grounds, whether on legal grounds, whatever grounds, he has the option of appealing to the National Council, and the National Council would consider the appeal. If the National Council upholds the decision, then that's it as far as the party is concerned.
The party's Council of Elders was first to petition the disciplinary committee over Mr. Afoko's conduct. Spokesperson of the council, Bafwe J. Bewa, says they are relieved by the National Executive Committee's decision.
So the decision that the disciplinary committee has taken now has been based on 2 complaints lodged by 2 members of the party. And I think those complaints...
Who are these party members?
Alaji Yeremia and then Alaji Aminu. And they are
founding members, I understand?
No, yeah, they are members of very good standing. They are founding members. And they lodged their complaints separately and individually.
This must be a relief to the National Council of Elders, this decision by NEC.
Well, I believe that because we were the first even to lodge a complaint, we do believe that the NEC, has done what any good party organ can do to make sure that the party stayed united and strong.
Sources within the camp of Mr. Afoko say he will certainly fight this decision by the National Executive Committee of his own party. For Joy News, Kwache Afreniama.
Right, joining us for some analysis on this is David Agbe of the Institute of Governance. Good evening to you, Mr. Agbe.
1 second, let me check.
Hello, good evening to you, Mr. David Agbe.
Yeah.
All right, how politically prudent is this?
Yes, sir, we can go on now.
All right, I'm asking how politically prudent is this decision to ask to suspend Paul Afoko, the national chairman of the New Patriotic Party?
I think that the suspension of Paul Afoko has not been well thought through or well calculated politically. One would have expected that at this crucial moment, the MPP should have examined thoroughly, before the suspension, because it's almost about 12 months to go to a general election, and so they shouldn't leave their camp divided. But what they are doing, they are actually trying to intensify and deepen their internal, crisis, or one way or the other, their internal conflict. And so politically, they shouldn't have done that. They should have found an amicable way of doing what I would call political settlement, or trying to compromise such that it will be able to bring some spirit of cohesion into their political parties, rather than, suspending Paul Afoko at this point in time, because Paul Afoko is also actually going to contest this matter at the court. And so it is going to be a long-standing battle between Paul Afoko and the political hierarchy of the MPP, and it is not going to inure to the benefit of the MPP whilst we are approaching election.
What do you imagine will be the fallout of this move by the New Patriotic Party?
What will be the fallout is that Paul Afoko is actually going to contest the matter at the court, because the party constitution is going to be tested. And so, once they are confronted with such a situation, they are going to apply their own principles of doing an evaluation of their party constitution. The constitution is going to be put to test at the court for them to prove beyond reasonable doubt that yes, they deserve to sanction Paul Afoko, or constitutionally, or looking at their own constitution, they do not deserve to do that. And what they need to look at is how best they can get a political capital, rather than trying to sabotage or trying to thwart the fortunes of their own political party. And so I would like to state once again that the decision was not thought through properly. It was a harsh decision that they've taken, and so politically it is not going to inure to their benefit.
Now, the decision has been taken by the National Executive Committee. Can it be reversed? Or do you foresee a situation where it is reversed, just so they can, keep the ranks together?
Israel, one would have expected, or I would suggest that, looking at the political arena, looking into the political, laboratory, I would expect that the MPP will reverse their decision, such that it will bring some kind of spirit of cohesion and some kind of spirit of unity within their ranks, rather than trying to start a course that is going to actually deepen the crisis within their own political party. So, looking at it from a political science point of view, looking at it from a political laboratory point of view, one would have thought that their decision will be a compromise one, where Paul Afoko, Kwabena Japan, and other factions within their ranks will be able to come together and say that whilst they are going for an election 2016, how can they compromise their decisions such that the party will be able to rally behind a certain flag, rather than doing what politically it is not wise to do.
All right, thank you very much, David Agbe, for your insight on the issue there. Now, joining me in the studio is head of our political desk, Evans Mensah. Good evening to you, Evans.
Good evening, Israel.
So I was just asking David Agbe if this decision could be reversed. Is it too long gone out?
No, it can be, because the Constitution, I had it in front of me here, talks about an appeal process. So he can appeal this particular, what has happened. The challenge, though, is whether he will appeal this process, because there's a certain feeling that the individuals who constitute the disciplinary committee have already taken a decision against him, and they will not, in fact, listen or adjudicate on the matter fairly, because it's coming about a person. They have taken a decision already, and so it's going to be an issue as far as he's concerned. That is why we're hearing today, and in fact I confirmed it with some of his close aides and one of his lawyers, that Afoko himself will be challenging this in court sometime next week. We'll see this play out quite forcefully. Now, there are key legal issues involved here. My position on this, having followed the MPP over time and speaking to people in this, my conclusion is, and I've said this before, that this decision is a good decision for the interest of the party, but comes too late in the day. Let me explain. The reason why I'm saying for the interest of the MPP, for those who took the decision, ultimately will benefit the party in the long run if they are able to see out the turmoil that will come in terms of court, etc., whatever, is we have a chairman who, in one particular region in the country, is a persona non grata. And there's a reason why when we were doing, there was a by-election in Talensi in the Upper East region. Chairman Afoko could not campaign there. He could not go there. Why? Because the regional chairperson had been killed, and people linked that death to Afoko's brother and thought, well, because Afoko's brother is being prosecuted now, it has something to do with Afoko himself. And before even his death, we knew that there were tensions between Afoko himself and the chairman eventually died. And so he can't go there and campaign. Now, if you're a national chairman, and for one big region, note, he comes from the Upper East region. In the 2016 elections, you cannot go to Upper East region and help in executing your party's agenda to win election for a whole big region. That is a problem. So if he's out of the way, and you can get somebody else in his place who can take the, and the party's constitution clothes him with tremendous, enormous powers, and he's still there, cannot act as a national chairman, let's say just for one particular region. Election is about numbers, okay? That, for me, is enough reason why, personally, should have taken a decision that I think because of this, I want to step aside for the interest of the party, for this somebody else to do it on my behalf. But he didn't do that.
He didn't step aside. Now, you're talking about the numbers game and the fact that he can't go to the Upper East region to campaign. It's critical. But how about he being from the region, from the three northern regions, and the fact that he's no longer there, and the people, supporters within the party, seeing that their man who's at the head of the party has been taken away?
Well,
it affects the numbers
that's
as well.
True. However you look at this, there are implications. You need to look at.
But you think
which,
of the two.
The truth, and honestly, about this is, it's about the best bad decision, the best bad choice. This is a bad choice, but it's the best among the lot. Which is, two things will happen: keep him there, go into 2016, and he is essentially toothless in helping you win a campaign, because senior people don't trust him. First point. Then, and because of that, the huge following across the country, you're losing huge votes. If you move him, of course, there are people who support him, like we saw today in the party's headquarters, who will, of course, complain and say, well, we support Afoko. But look at the national interest. This is a national campaign that is beyond any NDC supporter, MPP supporter. It's about everybody else voting. 5 million people, the last elections, voted for them. You need to think about that number beyond the several hundred thousands who will participate in the delegates conference to vote for Afoko. That's what you need to be thinking about. And if you look at that bigger picture, it's in your interest. However, having said that, you still need to follow the laid down legal procedures in your party to execute what has happened. And if you read the Constitution says, and I'm going to read, the national chairperson shall be the convener of all the meetings of the National Delegates Conference, the National Executive Committee. And that's the key point. The disciplinary committee's decision had to be communicated to the NEC. The NEC, the person who can call NEC to sit is the national chairman, as I've just read to you. In his absence, and I want to read this, in the absence of the national chairperson, the first national vice chairperson shall act in his or her place. Key word here, absence.
But he's not absent.
He's not absent. He is within the jurisdiction. Yet, the national first vice chairperson has convened this NEC, and the NEC has taken a decision. On the face of it, you say, it is a violation of the party's constitution. However, if you look at it closely, and this is what we are talking about, it's a complicated matter, and we'll go to the court possibly next week, and this will have to be fought out.
It could be, and it could get complicated. We don't want to get into the complications. I think one of the key questions I'd like to ask you before you go is, this was not just about Paul Afoko. It was about Paul Afoko, the national chairman, and the general secretary, Kwabena Agyapong. Paul Afoko essentially has been sidelined in this instance. What happens to Kwabena Agyapong?
Well, and this is a very important point. You can answer that question by asking yourself, where is Kwabena Agyapong right now? He's with Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, together campaigning for one common cause, which is winning the 2016 elections across Europe and the United States of America.
Does it mean that if he wasn't with him, by this time he would have also been sidelined?
This is my theory. If this was planned, what happened to it was planned. Whoever planned it should probably be given an award. Why? Nana Akufo-Addo is seen as somebody who is not fan of Afoko. He's seen as somebody who is not fan of Kwabena Agyapong, and that has played out in the media circles. However, who is the most powerful person in the NPP? One individual who is the most powerful, apart from the various committees, is a national chairman. Apart from that, you're talking about general secretary. Which of these individuals, the two of them, general secretary, national chairman, if you are able to get out of the way, you are able to take more decisions that will favor you. Get the national chairman out. If you can get the general secretary on your side, you're looking at the united
solving a lot of your
Now,
problems.
the key point to note here, Israel, is that right now, nobody can say, oh, Nana Akufo-Addo has something to do with this. Why? Because geographically, he isn't here. Whoever planned this has given Nana Akufo-Addo what you would call plausible deniability. I was far away in the United States with somebody who you claim to be somebody I shouldn't like, Kwabena Agyapong. We're together. So I had no idea about what has happened. That will be his alibi. But we all know that in politics...
This whole thing sounds like a chess game.
Absolutely.
Evans.
But it's a beautiful game of politics. But my key point for MPP is, what is going to happen if you go in 2016? You should have a big legal battle
to deal with
your national chairman.
Maybe they could get it out of the way before they get to 2016. Possibly. Thank you very much, Evans Mensah. He's head of our political desk. We're taking a break at this point on Joy News Prime. When we come back, we bring you business news with Ayrton Amsey. Please stay tuned. All right, coming up in business, all about Eurobond, and Ayrton Amsey is here to tell us all about it. So the finance minister, or Parliament, gave the finance minister the approval to go and raise $1.5 billion in the Eurobond. They raised $1 billion.
$1 billion. So, we're wondering when we're going to raise the other $500 million.
Or if you were going to forget about it.
But also, Tekpe is saying that considering the current market conditions, we'll see whether we can issue another or we can go for another roadshow by the end of the year.
How hopeful is he that he's going to get cheaper rates on the $500 million?
Israel, I think I'll give you Tekpe's number so you find out.
Call him.
Okay, now, Finance Minister said Tekpe has confirmed government is working to issue another Eurobond before the year ends. Speaking to the press in Accra, said Tekpe indicated that the move has been influenced by government's inability to raise all the $1.5 billion approved by Parliament.
Government could raise only $1 billion out of the approved $1.5 billion following high interest and other market conditions. Finance Minister said Tekpe revealed to journalists at a briefing government's intentions on issuing another Eurobond.
You took $1.5 billion because it was oversubscribed, the interest rate could be higher, and therefore there was a judicial decision. That explains my deputy's point that we still have an approval from Parliament for 1.5 for 2015. So if the opportunity presents itself, since we have the advisors before the end of the year, And since it's part of the budget that was approved, you could still go to the market, to borrow. That is depending on conditions which, Mr. Akes, explained. On the other hand, if the markets are not favorable, you look for alternative financing. And then it means that your financing mix will change for the 2016 budget. So I think the answer is quite simple. There is nothing like demolition.
He explained that although global markets are dry, the prospects for the economy remain high.
The markets are dry because China is slowing. The markets are dry because the Fed Reserve has not, or the Fed, or what we call the Federal Reserve, the U.S. Central Bank, has not been able to announce firmly, when they are going to increase interest rates. Everybody knows that they will increase it. The markets are dry because Saudi Arabia, in fact, in the week that we were doing the bond, and that was one of the reasons we suspended the pricing. During that particular week, Saudi Arabia withdrew nearly 80 billion US dollars from emerging market funds. So there's a lot that's going on globally, which is not Ghana related only. Yes, does it impose a tough market condition? It does. But this is the point about prospects for the economy. And Ghana has good prospects, and we have to work hard towards it.
The $1 billion Eurobond raised is meanwhile supported by the World Bank guarantee and is to refinance domestic debts only.
Now, the recent power challenges is said to have worsened due to gas challenges from Nigeria. Speaking to Joy Business, some businesses bemoaned the situation, saying it is deeply eating into their profits and collapsing their businesses.
The power situation, it improved somewhere in June, but from that on it has been worse since. And it is affecting the business. As you can see, when it came, we are not working because the light even just came on. And most of the customers, when the light is not on, they don't come because we buy a lot of fuel to power our gensets, and some of the cost is transferred onto the customer, and because of that, they will be waiting if the light comes on. And mostly we get lights like, you used to get 12 hours, but now sometimes 6 hours. The light just came by 6 in the evening, it will go off. The management we are hoping that it will improve, because now the fuel that we use to power this genset, we have to dig deep into our profits and even the savings that we did. So we are just only hoping that maybe it will improve, else I think we have to shut down.
The Gunso has gotten worse because of the Gunso, our managers cannot pay us well. And most of the workers too has been sacked. Because of that, the Gunso is not helping us. Oh, the profit again, now our profit has come down. If not because of the profit which is coming down, like they won't sack some of the members, like we also will get correct pay. Okay. Because of the Gunso, we can't get our pay.
It's too bad, and it's affecting our production.
How is it affecting your production? Can you tell us more about it?
Yeah, supposing the client brings a work, and we promise to deliver maybe a week. Sometimes it turns to a whole month, and you cannot deliver, and sometimes they have to boycott the contract, and it's affecting us a lot. So we can't even pay our workers, and the plant, the fuel we may need to run it, it's at the higher cost. So at the end of it, we run lost and we can't pay workers.
Power situation is very low over here because we get light at times once in the week, at times 2 times, so we affect our productivity. We lost some of our customers. We use plant, we buy for 400 Ghana every day, which is very bad. So it affects us a lot. It lays some of our customers off because of the lights, because of the power over here.
Meanwhile, government has reassured Ghanaians it is working hard to meet the current power demand of 2,100 megawatts by the end of the year to end the doomsday situation. Director of Generation and Transmission at the Power Ministry, William Samapia, outlines plans underway to achieve this.
Before the end of the year, we have projections that will end the current situation and have in excess, so that it will help us to plan. The current situation is such that if a unit has to go down for maintenance, or something happens and the unit has to shut down, we get into trouble. But we should get into the situation where we can plan maintenance and the unit will shut down and you will not even feel it. Yes, we may have some challenge with fuel, essentially gas, but there are plans to also look at how we meet the gas shortfalls. For example, right now we are committed to have liquefied natural gas coming in. It's under an accelerated pace, and that should come in and make sure that the Taba situation is supported. As you saw yesterday, just the problem in Nigeria affected the country so much. But we need to get into the situation where we have multiple sources of fuel coming in. And for that reason, we are getting this LNG on fast-track basis that should come in and make sure that we have sustainable operation in our system. Besides the short-term or the fast-track, we also have another big one coming in, minimum of 250 million scarf per day, and can go even up to 750. And that should also be in Tema and should help with the current situation.
Tullow Oil has emerged as the #1 company in the country according to the Ghana Club 100 rankings. The oil and gas exploration giant beats over 200 companies that submitted themselves for scrutiny. Here's more from the award ceremony held last night.
The Ghana Club 100, spearheaded by the Ghana Investment Promotion Center, is an annual list of top 100 companies in Ghana. The awards aim at encouraging competition and improving products and services. In a speech read on his behalf, President Mahama tasked businesses to seek more partnerships with local and foreign investors and take advantage of new business opportunities.
It is you, the business leaders, who will help us identify the opportunities within the private sector. It is for you business leaders to be innovative and take advantage of the openings that are available and seek the partnership of the international and local investors to ensure the sustainable development of this country. We have done enough trading and import businesses. This is the time to go into manufacturing and export.
The event was held under the theme Impact Investments and Sustainable Economic Development. Vice President of the African Development Bank in charge of finance, Charles Boama, who delivered the main address, explained how Ghana was being helped in that regard.
For example, here in Ghana, we have the Ghana SME Business Linkage Program, which is intended as a 3-year cross-sector capacity building program that is supporting 120 Ghanaian SMEs. We have a whole range of lines of credits, trade finance, etc., and serving and supporting enterprises here in Ghana as well as across the continent. And I'm happy to see that a couple of the companies we've dealt with actually were named tonight as they were award recipients. It's good to see that.
Various companies from the financial, manufacturing and services sectors, amongst others, were awarded on the night. The ultimate award, however, went to Tullow Ghana. Darryl Kwao for Joy Business.
Meanwhile, Tullow Oil says it will use this recognition to open up more businesses, to employ more Ghanaians and become the benchmark for industry operations. Charles Darko is Chief Executive of Tullow Oil Ghana.
What it means is that we have to strive to stay up there, and it can only come from harder work, because everyone will be watching us and, of course, trying to overtake us. And certainly that's what the industry needs, some competition to improve quality, to improve delivery and efficiency. So it will inspire us to work much harder, and then also look for new opportunities to grow the industry, to grow the business for ourselves and for the country. Definitely provide more capacity for local industries and local expertise to come on board and help with the secondary industry that the country needs.
And that's it for business. My name is Etonam Say. It's a weekend. Take it easy.
This is Joy News Prime. Now to the rest of our stories. A knife-wielding man who went on the rampage at Kwame Nkrumah Circle in Accra is in police custody. Eyewitnesses say he went berserk because he felt defrauded by a laptop computer dealer at Tiptoe Lane. 3 persons were injured in the melee. Kwete Nate has more.
It's business as usual here at Tiptoe Lane at Kwame Nkrumah Circle in Accra. Business has returned to normal barely 24 hours after a chaotic scene forced shop owners to close their stores. An attacker who reportedly went wild inflicted stab wounds on 3 persons, resulting in serious panic. According to eyewitness, it was because of a deal gone bad after he was defrauded.
I think he bought some laptop from the people, and later on the laptop they gave to him wasn't okay. You understand? So he have to go back to his house. When he came back, then he found out that the laptop wasn't okay. So he approached the guys who sold the laptop on the street for him, that the laptop they sold for him wasn't okay. So they said he should sit. So him and his brother, I think they were like sitting for like some time. They were sitting for some time. So when they sat for like almost 5 hours. So when he saw the guy the second time, he approached to him that why is he still wasting his time? So he held the guy on his trouser, that he was trying to drag the guy to the police station. So in the process of it, the guy removed his hand on his and started fighting him. So somebody from the back used something to hit the guy's head. So blood started coming out. So when the blood was coming out, so the guy touched his head and see blood. So he went to a woman selling coke and things, and he took the 2 bottles and break together. So started stabbing themselves.
Babasa was the security man who overpowered the attacker. He tells me what happened.
So when I come to the last gate, I stand by the gate. I was holding a stick, an iron. So before the guy coming back inside the den, people were running. So I tried to stop the guy, and I stopped the guy by the gate. I give him first, second, I give him before people start beating him. From there, he ran to enter to this thing, Ebony inside, lock himself inside. We tried to open the place before he opened it, and then he come out from there. I wasn't there again because I come back to check inside the circle more, so that I will make sure that nothing should steal from inside, nothing to steal from inside. From there, I did not follow the guy again.
Police in Nima have arrested the persons connected to the incident, but many of the traders here want security presence improved because of criminal activities there.
Because of 10 city, so they are fighting, and it's about a laptop issue. So, in fact, I think we need a policeman around to patrol this Tiptoe Lane and the Circle Mall. Because yesterday, in fact, people, I don't know, a lot of things spoiled. So for me, I think we should get a policeman around to patrol the area. And one thing I'm thinking about, the Nigerians, the government should do something about that. Because they are disturbing us a lot, taking our businesses, our women, a lot.
Until that is done, retailers who do business here and patrons will have to make their own security their responsibility. For Joy News, Kwete Nate, Accra.
We spoke earlier with DSP Sefazato of the Police Public Relations Directorate, who explained that those involved in the incident might be prosecuted.
Within the drift of the police, the case is a bit hydra-headed, but preliminary investigation have it that some 2 persons on one side fought with 1 person on the other side, and that the individual sustained quite serious injuries. Right. So he rushed to the police station, the Holy Gardens police station at Kwame Nkrumah Circle, to make a report, whereby he was given a medical form to go to the hospital. And as we speak, he's on admission at Kolemi Hospital. Perhaps by Monday, that is the signal that we are getting, he would be discharged. Okay. And then
watching Joy News Prime, we're taking a break now. When we come back, we'll bring you international news. In Sunyani to demand their deposit withheld for several months. Finance Minister Setekpe confirms government is working to issue another Eurobond before the end of this year if the conditions are right. And Fair Wages and Salaries Commission warns about 10,000 names of teachers on government's payroll are to be deleted come next month after they failed to validate their records with the Controller and Accountant General. Now on to our story on DKM. There was violence and mayhem at the premises of DKM Financial Services in Sunyani on Friday morning as angry customers demanded a refund of their deposits. It took a combined team of police and military personnel to bring the situation under control as angry customers went about destroying company property. Correspondent Precious Semevo joins us with more on this story. Good evening to you, Precious. Describe to us the extent of the mayhem you witnessed at the premises of DKM Financial Services today.
Well, Israel, it was serious. This time around, the customers were not ready to listen to whoever would talk to them. But for the intervention, swift one, of course, of the military, I think would have been singing a different song by this time. It was quite deadly. You know, some of us around had to be, running for our lives on and off because stones were flying from everywhere, smashing, the glasses and all other things. People were crying, people were heckling, others who will be trying to talk to them to calm down. It was quite a bad situation this day.
Precious, explain to us why the customers were there at the premises of DKM in the first place.
Well, Israel, if you've been following the DKM issue, you will notice that after the moratorium expired, the Bank of Ghana gave DKM the go-ahead to start paying their customers. Indeed, they started with a payment plan, though they were not following it as they've planned themselves. Not too long ago, they informed customers that they've suspended it and they will start or continue payment today. So most of the customers came to the premises today hoping that today will be a lucky day for them. Only for a worker of a DKM to tell the customers that that situation or payment will not take place today. And that is what got the customers infuriated, and they started vandalizing and destroying almost anything that they will see around.
All right, so let me get you clearly again. These are customers who have made deposits or deposited their monies at this microfinance firm, and they were hoping for returns. And the returns are not forthcoming, and the principal is also not forthcoming.
Yes, even as of now, we understand that it is the principal that they should be thinking of getting. And even that is also not coming. And customers are depending on this money. Some of them are saying that they need the money to pay their ward fees and other family issues. And they've heard too many stories, and this time around, they are not taking no for an answer.
Now, we also hear some patients were held hostage at a clinic connected to the management. Could you please tell us about that incident?
Yes, this is a clinic by name Rabito Clinic. And it is run by the CEO of DKM's father, and he shares the same property with DKM. Now, unfortunately, the person who broke the news to the customers did that while the customers were standing in front of the clinic. So that is, and as at that time, there were some patients inside, and there were some workers also inside. And when the customers decided to go on rampage, they sought refuge inside there, and they could not come out as a result of what is happening out there. Now, later on, when I checked, I got information that they were whisked out of the building through the exit door, of which nobody knew that they had been, taken out of the premises.
All right, thank you very much, Precious Semevo, joining us from Sunyani. And then a pregnant woman who was severely assaulted by unknown assailants in Wa went into labor shortly after the attack and delivered a baby boy in the open with no help. Her attackers made away with all her personal effects and stripped her naked at the Wa Snit flat. Upper West Region correspondent Rafiq Salam joins me on the phone line with more. Good evening to you, Rafiq. Now, just recap the story for us and tell us how the mother and child are doing.
This is a lady, a woman who gave his name only as Rabbit. She told us that she came from Nadoli and then came to her last night, and she was somehow attacked by unknown assailants, numbering about 5. And then also after that incident around the workplace, she noticed containers, some stores around the road, just in front of the flat, and that was where she lay down there after some hours. She delivered a person, and so this midwife called the team who came and helped the woman to separate her, and we call her first. I want to boost our somebody with the sister and the woman there. Get the person one to the regional hospital to get it from there at the potential war.
We're very sorry. The line to Rafik is not very good, and so we'd have to end that conversation there and move elsewhere. And police at Axim in the Western region are investigating a shocking case of suspected child abuse. The victim, a 7-year-old girl, is reported to have been severely beaten by a mother who also allegedly inflicted razor blade incisions all over her body. The girl, whose identity is being withheld for now, doesn't appear to know what she did wrong to attract the wrath of her mother. Joining News editor Martha Krenselakwa has been following the story and joins me now on the phone line. Good evening to you, Martha. How did the story come to your attention?
Okay, so we are running a program that is MTN Multimedia One Nation project that is supposed to celebrate the good deeds in our environment and then other issues as they come along. So this month, for instance, we're talking about waiting disasters in our community. But then this story came in, and the person sent it with an SOS message that this is a picture of a girl living in his community and has been abused by the mother. So if there is anything we can do to help, he will be grateful. So when I saw the picture, I was troubled. I started to call him and ask him for further information, but he was reluctant to speak because he didn't want the people in the community that is in Axim to know that he is the one who has reported the case, else he may be in trouble. So after some persuasion, he agreed to speak to me. So I called him the day after the story came to me, and then I asked him if there was any way I could get in touch with the girl's father, because the girl's father wasn't living in the community. So he said, oh, the girl just came around, so if I can speak with the girl. I said, okay, I took my chances, and then the girl couldn't say what exactly she has done. She said she did nothing. All she did was to go out and come late. So the mother put blades in the cage and tied her hands and then beat her up. She has been consistent with this story. I've spoken to her twice. So when it happened, I told the gentleman who reported to try and find the girl's father. So a day after, he found the girl's father and told me the girl's father is a fisherman, so he went to see, he just came back. I spoke to him, and he also sounded like he was aware of the problem, but he sounded weird. I later found out he was drunk. So the girl was sent to the father, and the girl is 7 years. The father is now supposed to take care of the girl. So I contacted the crime officer today in Axim, and he told me the mother was taken to court this morning, and the mother is 39. The mother has had 3 children, or 4, with the girl's father. The girl is actually the last one. And the mother has remarried, has 2 more children. So the father has taken the first 2 away. The 3rd one is dead, and this is the 4th one. So when they went to court, she pleaded guilty to causing harm to the child. Unfortunately, she's heavily pregnant, so they can't send her to jail. So she's convicted, but her sentence is to be of good behavior. She's bonded to be of good behavior for 12 months. In default, she will go to imprisoned for 3 months.
All right, thank you very much, Martha Crenshaw Aqua, for that update. Very harrowing story in there. We're taking a break on Joy News Prime. When we come back, Miss G is here. Good evening to Miss G.
Good evening, Israel.
It's Friday.
I'm so glad it is, you know. I'm glad. I'm hoping to have a great weekend.
Okay.
Yes.
Well, I wish you a great weekend.
Thank you already.
Okay. Nana means king.
Yes, Nana means king. Yes.
That's a fact. We know that Nana means king.
Yes.
But they're making a movie out of that.
Exactly, and that's the title of the movie. You know, we've been talking about Beast of No Nation, the fact that it's a Hollywood movie, it's an international movie shot in Ghana. Another actor has made us proud. Prince David Osei lands a role in Nana Means King. This is a British movie, actually shot in Britain, and he got the role. And
okay, it could be how big is this role? Because we know Beast of No Nation was a huge one.
Well,
okay, this is a British movie. Do we know how huge it is? Can it compare to Beast of Nation, or how does it compare with Beast of Nation?
Well, you need to see the trailer to know how big this is. Of course, I wouldn't want to do the comparison, but I'm sure that this is another great one for us, because it means that gradually we are getting our actors and actresses out there. People are beginning to, you know, recognize them and think also that they are good for their works.
Do we have the trailer?
Sure, we do. And actually, we have been speaking to Prince David Osei.
Okay.
He's been talking about this role and what the movie
it means to him.
exactly Nana Means King is.
They got to that point in the life of Nana Kwame, that is Nana Means King, and I think I was losing it, so I was just going to jump off the cliff into the sea and end it. But I looked up and I saw an aeroplane. So the aeroplane kind of gave me some hope.
Right, so who's the other huge, big actor in there? You know, Beast of No Nation, we had one big guy in there.
Idris
Elba. Do we have Pierce Brosnan featuring in this one?
Israel, don't do that.
Okay.
This is
Right. Nana Means King. Let's go on to Sarkodie.
But let's talk about Sarkodie, who is in Europe touring with his Merry album. Now he was on France 24, and he was asked, how come you keep rapping in a language nobody else but you and the people in Ghana understands? And he says, look, I won't get offended by this question. He tells them why in a very nice way.
And I agree with him, actually, because music, it's about that emotional connection.
Exactly.
I think it's more about the rhythm.
Because, you know, we've been listening to the like of Angelique Kidjo. We don't even understand what she said.
Yeah.
We sing. We listen to a lot of Nigerian songs. Most of them are in Igbo, Yoruba, and all that. We sing along, so...
See, and you'll come to think of it, when we're growing up, all these tracks that we're playing, the songs are actually in English, but we didn't make much meaning to it, and we're just singing. I remember one of them, cool it down, I say cool it down, cool, chop, chop. And really?
You know, the amazing thing is that we didn't even used to pronounce the words rightly.
That's the point I'm making.
You know, but we still enjoy the song.
Just enjoy the music.
I know that some of the songs I had to grow a bit more to understand. Okay, so this is exactly what this person was saying in this song, you know. So long as we love the song,
we'll keep on enjoying the music, and we'll keep on a Sarkodie will tell you a Heimbaku.
What does he say?
10K.
You know, say money don't be problem.
We're enjoying the songs anyway.
But your girl is in the news, you know. Miss Bell is in the news.
What's she done?
Oh, Miss Bell. First of all, Miss Bell says that unlike what people think about her, she's not that good in bed. Now, she says because of the kind of song she does, the way she carries herself and all that, she gets men approaching her, telling her
thinking that she's such a wild one.
But she doesn't, according to her, she doesn't know too many sex positions, you know. But that's away from that. She's falling out with her one-time good friend, Diamond Apia. Diamond, who is also a musician, an actress, and also a businesswoman.
I thought they were getting along quite
well.
What happened?
I don't know what happened to them. We just woke up one day and they were all over Instagram, you know, lashing out at each other. And today they were on radio. And the truth about the issue is that Diamond says that Ms. Bell took 2,000 Ghana cedis from her, which she's not paid back. She came borrowing wigs from her. She's not giving the wigs back to her. Now Ms. Bell comes and says, look, forget her. She took me to a man who she claims is a godfather, but was rather her boyfriend. Do you know who this man is?
I don't.
The late David Lamptey. They should just let this man rest in peace, you know.
Oh no.
You see, and then the fact that David gave them 5,000 Ghana cedis for transport, and you know, funny things happened on radio this afternoon. But
really,
they are falling out. That's what just happened. They're falling out, and
that's such a pity.
You know, and I'm so surprised that they decide to do this in public. Then they could just call out on each other and say, okay, look, we are adults, let's let this go, or whatever it is. I don't want to use the friend anymore.
To think that they can resolve it some way, somehow.
Some people are thinking also that it's just some publicity gimmick for them, you know. They're just trying to get their name out there, especially for Diamond, who has been off the screens for a long while, and maybe she has something that she's about to do, and she's trying to create attention around her, you know. But Kwabena has been hailed by the Vice Chancellor of the University of Ghana for his consistency when it comes to his works. Now, Professor Enesaite says that, you know, every day you switch on the radio, there's a new person, and also the old folks are rebranding. So let's say today you're Israelite, tomorrow you're singing as who? Just as TikTok, you know, TikTok has.
All right, so it's another weekend, and all those who love the EPL are very much looking forward to the games that are coming up. Kwame Jumang is here to tell us all about it.
Well, I'm sure you're a big fan of Chelsea, and you'll be looking forward to
Proudly Blue
later this weekend when you play.
In fact, Proudly Blue.
Of course, I mean, I know the kind of
okay, Proudly Blue
about Chelsea
Proudly
every
Blue.
Time they're in action. But I mean, Andre Didiayu and his brother are the talk of the town at the moment. I mean, you remember when they were in France? You know, they used to play together, and then Jordan left Marseille because he wasn't getting too much game time. He went to other clubs. He got the opportunity to play against his brother. Now they've moved to England together. They play for different clubs and would get to play against each other tomorrow if their managers decide to play them.
Field them. Anyway, all right.
Well, we're looking forward to that game, and we'll be bringing to you an exclusive interview with Andrew Didiayu concerning this particular game. But before we go to that, we do some stories from the English Championship. Now, you remember there's a Ghanaian international, Tony Yeboah, who has put his name up for this job. He says he's been able to gather the 5 signatures that needed to help with his filing, and he's going to be doing that very, very, very shortly. We'll see how that goes. Russia 2018 is 3 years away, but the qualifiers are already on in South America. In the next round of games, Brazil will be playing the eternal rivals Argentina, and Brazil coach Dunga is looking forward to the set of fixtures.